Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist back again with another stealth video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to hide in lockers or closets, I guess. Could be any kind of enclosed area you want to think of. For this, we're going to need some light, and we will need a locker. Also going to turn off the camera access point. I don't think our locker is going to be too complex visually. We could maybe upgrade it later, but I just want to get the basic gist across. Oops. Remember, whichever way you face with the camera, that orients the clipped mirror. And you do want it to be a clipped mirror. So set it to clipped mirror, set it to grid snap, and set it to stamp shape. Alright, that's the right orientation we want. It's got to be big enough to contain a person, so that might be too tall. Yeah, we could move him over and use him as like a measuring. Yeah, that's probably. Let me look at this. A little thinner and just a tiny bit shorter. He should fit in this nicely. You know, lockers are actually rather large. I suppose it depends on the locker, but some of them are large enough that you could like squash someone under them. We'll just go ahead and copy the locker and resize it to make the door. That way it lines up pretty perfectly. And I guess we'll add some bolts. Actually, we'll add them to... not logic bolts, just sculptural bolts. Oops. Be sure you're lining these up properly. Now we'll just scope into the door and add one there. It's not really necessary, more of a visual flair. It might help, though, a little bit with lining up our actual bolts, as in functional bolts that move the sculpt. We'll see about that. I think that should be good. Actually, let me move this down a bit. We're also going to add little, what are the little hole, I guess. We don't really need it, because I don't think you'll be able to look out of this, but if you wanted to add a mechanic where you could look outside the locker, it might be good to have a hole of some kind. Probably should be smaller, too. and lower down. More at eye level. That's a reasonable facsimile of the locker. Now we're going to group these two. Now this part may be just a little bit tricky. We're going to need this to turn. We're going to need to line this bolt up and have this thing turn at a right angle. I was hoping that if we turned on the right angle guide, it might make it easier. Yeah, getting it to be straight is actually a lot more difficult than you would think. Oh well, I don't think we can... We can't really mess around with this too much. I will put an angle limit on it though, so that it only opens a certain amount. That's pretty good, I think. Maybe a little bit further. Yeah, that will do. That will do nicely. And we're going to leave the door and everything collidable so that you can't just walk right into it. Although you will have trouble where you you'll be knocking up against the door, and I'm not sure we want that. We'll try making it non-movable for the time being. That'll probably make it so. It's collidable, that's kind of weird. Maybe if we make it scenery. Yeah, scenery and non-movable should do the trick. We just don't want you getting inside of it too easily. And now we'll add a microchip. We'll call this microchip Locker. And we're also going to put a tag on here for the player's teleporter. We want him facing the locker, believe it or not in the locker. Also, let's turn off these bolts so we don't see them. That should do nicely for getting into the locker, I think. Then we're gonna make some keyframes. I don't know if I'm going to have this animation be too complex because I just want to get down to the basics. Yeah, it seems to be okay. Then we just place him inside like so. Pull the door in. I will pull his hand in a little bit too. Now real quick, I will leave the door. I'm just going to copy this keyframe. We aren't really going to want the door open, but I just want to see him and see that he's in a good position. Alright, he's not sticking through the wall or anything. That's good. Now we'll just take this beginning keyframe, which is basically the door being shut. And if this is good, it should be one smooth, continuous motion. There we go. We're probably going to have these be on separate timelines, one for the player and one for the locker. We're also going to set it to play once. And we'll make a new piece of logic. We'll call this hiding in and we're probably going to need, what is it? We're going to need an interaction chip from earlier. Can use. It'll do nicely. And I imagine we will need one of these trusty little fellows, the all-important selector. And a little switch to set it off. Put this in the B output. Make sure you connect use to the timeline, not the other one, which is can use. And we'll put down a microchip called in. And this will be the pose. Now, if possible, we'll want something that triggers it. Could be a wireless transmitter. We'll call it in locker. And we'll have a wireless receiver over here. Set to pick up in locker as a signal. I don't think we need it to be too big. This should do it, probably. For the zone of detection. Then we're just going to go ahead and take the pose and put it over here. We're going to make the door keyframes gray so we can tell the difference between the two. And we're going to copy out this timeline and delete the door keyframes. Go back here and delete the entering keyframes for the player. Do not delete the door ones, though. Set this to play once. This is just an animation, a formality, really. And we're going to need something that tells us that we're entering. So, going to need a zone connected to this called Enter Locker. Actually, though, alternatively, we could use a tag called Enter Locker. I feel like this would be a more efficient way. I could be wrong. But basically, when this starts playing, it'll set the whole thing in motion. And we'll just shorten the timeline down a bit. And in case of there's any danger of replaying the timeline prematurely, we are going to put a node in here. Put a NOT gate to the node's power. Put that in there. Just in case. It will cost a few extra wires, but it's good to be safe about these things. It cuts down on glitches or the possibilities of glitches. We ought to do the same up here. Then just connect the switch to the NOT gate. Power A to NOT gate. That way we can't play this over and over again. Connect B to in. And if this works as I have planned it to, it should be nice and ready. Oh, something's wrong. Oh yes, our player teller tag needs to be moved to the timeline. And we need to move this down a little bit. Put that nice and snug in there. And just copy it out and put it on the timeline. Well, not the timeline, I should say. The in chip is where you want it. It will be on the timeline too, but we already done that. Alright, he's not staying in. That's interesting. In locker. What are we not doing right? That says in locker. Signal from transmitter. Maybe it's not big enough to receive the signal? Well, we may have to get more. We'll just use a zone. That's pretty safe and handy. It won't be on all the time, so it won't run up our zone count as much. Alright, I think that should work. Let's take a look over here, get rid of that, and swap it out with a tag that says in locker. Oop, get rid of that one. Don't want that in there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this should work. There we are. We're in the locker. There is one tiny little thing that I do not quite agree with, which is the fact that this interaction chip is still active. We'll go ahead and connect this to the power. That should turn it off. Yeah, that gets rid of it. Nice. Now we're gonna need one for leaving. I guess you could make a special animation for leaving, but I think I'll just reverse the already existing animation. Call it go out. And of course we're going to hook up B to the power of the NOT gate. This should all work nicely. All we gotta do is reverse. We are gonna have to be a little tricky about this though, because we're gonna need this to line up with that. Exactly, so let's go ahead and move these over here. And then move them down. Get them all lined up properly. Put this fellow here. That one there. Basically, we're just reversing the order. So you gotta think backwards. I'll admit, this confuses me. I'm not sure why. Like, it messes with my brain to have to think backwards. I think I might want to test this just to make sure it works properly. So let's copy this NOT gate. Alright, it's working in reverse. And we will need a little node connected here. Mainly just to shut off the logic that's active. That should do nicely. Now we are going to copy this and delete everything except the switch and the player pose, because there's just going to basically be an animation in tandem with the other one. Gotta admit, this is rather complex. Now, if we're lucky, we can hook this up so that just not being in the locker can trigger this to happen. I don't know, though. I don't know if I want to risk that. Maybe just have a separate thing called leave locker. It would seem easier. Don't know why that one keeps happening. I think it's some kind of glitch. All we gotta do is rename this to leave locker. Now that should do nicely if I've got this all correct. Put that in A. And we may want to delete these, of course. Now I guess there is the small issue of how you will leave the locker. I suppose you could have it so that if you press triangle again, you can leave, in which case I might not even want to turn off the interaction button. Let's try it without turning off the interaction button, see how that works. That works pretty nice, actually. Now we could turn off the display to leave, or maybe change it a bit. It is kind of weird how he slides in there, but you know me. I'm just trying to show you the process. If you want to make it a little bit less weird, that's something you can do yourself. But that's him going in and out of a locker. Also, we may want to give it a nice sound effect, I think. Not really sure if that's the greatest sound effect, but it's a sound effect. Sounds kind of loud, too. Makes it seem like he's not very silent. But that would be how you would add a sound effect if you wanted one. Now we are going to test, probably, how this would actually affect the guard. To see if he would not be able to see you. I wonder how he's detecting us so easily. Is it because we're falling? Well, I don't know what that was about. Maybe it's because we were too close or something. He probably could hear our footsteps. That's probably what it was. But we're going to go ahead and get inside the locker, and we're going to have some kind of keyframe that makes us immune to detection. And we'll probably have... Oops. Don't want to make a mistake there. Probably have a selector. And we're going to turn off... You know, we could turn off procedural animations just to make things smooth. And... turn off our friend label so he won't detect us that way. I don't think we're going to be making any speed noise inside this thing. I think that should do it. He's one sensitive guard. And now that we're inside, we're just going to take him and point him right at us. We could have him patrol, but that would take a while. Well, he doesn't see us, however, we shouldn't have the ability to move during this state. So I'm going to go to interact. I think it's can't move. And we're going to put in a little thing that says stop, so that way we can't go jumping everywhere. Wireless transmitter, that should do it. Move it up to about here. That should do it. Our feet, just our feet moving is like setting this fellow off. Oh, also he's facing us. I forgot to mention that. Alright, so we don't have that problem where we can't move anymore. I mean, where we jump or whatever. We do have an alternative problem, though, where we can't seem to leave. Probably because the controls are being turned off by the can't move, but I have an idea about how we can fix this. We'll just turn off these two and leave triangle open. That way we can leave if we want to. Now let's go ahead and go in. Oops, if we can manage not to be noticed. And we're just going to turn him right at us so that we can see that he's not detecting us. I feel like he actually should be able to notice you when you're getting in, so what I might do is only trigger this at the end of the cycle. That way he can still notice you. Let's turn him away. He's pretty good at detecting us just because of our speed. Honestly, I might just move him away so we don't have to worry about that. And now we'll move him back. That way he can see us when we're coming out. Alright, he saw us getting in, so that's good. We also want a thing where when he finds us, we can just instantly get out. I forget, what does he do when he's been... It would be nice to have some method for him to just, if he discovers us, we get taken out. I can't think of anything, though. Let me think about it. Maybe if we go to his loud... What we need is a discovered tag. And we need a thing when he's alert that tells us we've been discovered. A zone. I think that should be nice. Not too big. Pull it up a little bit. We're also going to need it so that when we're discovered, it forces certain things to occur. It sets this off. I might also have it so that the discovered chip shuts certain things from happening, like we can't enter the locker again when we've been discovered. I'm not sure what's going on there. I think I know what it is. Let's put this in there and that in here. Maybe that will fix the problem. Now, what is going on here? Oh, I know what it is. We also want something that will force us out. On this end. So, discovered here will also do nicely. Alright, that forces us out, so that's good. We could even make it nice and fast if we want to. Maybe that's too fast. I think that'll do fine on normal speed. I suppose you could also have it so that if he sees you, you just get caught and there's like a game over screen or something. But basically, what we've outlined here is how to hide in a locker, in a nutshell. Hope you found that helpful. We're going to give a quick shout out to our monthly supporters on Ko-fi. There they go, there are their lovely names. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. If you wish to support our earnest insanity, you can check the links in the description to donate or buy merch. Until next time, goodbye.